Subscribe to the Monaresclub.
What's good, guys? This is James from the Monaresclub bringing you another deck profile from Cross Spirits. This one's going to be Red Jiren. I'm a little late to the party on this leader. It took me a little while to assemble my pieces for the deck, just because I cracked a bunch of boxes at release, but, you know, I wasn't super prioritizing building this deck, so I traded the pieces off for some other decks that I was more interested in, but I've come back around to trying this leader out, and I've been really impressed with just what he can do. He's very aggressive, but also you can kind of play him on more of a mid-range pivot where you can kind of decide whether to go in or hold back, which is a playstyle I very much enjoy being able to do. So I just thought I'd bring you guys this deck profile here. It's not super... There's nothing super crazy in the deck, but I will go over kind of my ratios and why I like what I like the numbers at. But before I get into the video, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It would really help the channel out a lot. We bring you guys content on the weekly, deck profiles, locals gameplay, box breaks, all kinds of stuff. So it would really help us out if you could hit that subscribe button if you're new. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So Jiren's kind of a weird character, but you know, it kind of fits him thematically, just like in the TV show, right? So he's got an auto spirit boost 1, so you can, when your opponent attacks, you can choose one of your red Jiren cards in your hand with an evolve skill, pay the skill cost, and then evolve it on top of the card. So what this effectively means is as long as you have your unison in play, when your opponent attacks, you can remove a marker from it, and then do an evolve skill from your hand on your opponent's turn. So this is really important because a lot of your evolve skills, your Jirens that have evolve, they have skills that negatively affect your opponent's cards, which can impact the way that your opponent plays out their turn. It can be very disruptive as long as you can keep your unison in play, but this deck is not super unison reliant, thankfully. I found that you can kind of play without the unison. It's just kind of gravy if you can do it on the opponent's turn. Then he also has this very good activate main. I've been super impressed by this one. He's activate main once per turn. You add one card from your life to your hand. You look at up to 7 cards from the top of your deck. You play 1 red Universe 11 with energy cost 1 from among them in rest mode, and then shuffle your deck. So this lets you self-awaken, which is great already, but it lets you take 7, which is a lot, and then put a 1-drop into play for free, and then almost all of your 1-drops replace themselves. They either cantrip or they tutor. So that means you're going very plus off of this. You're going to get 1 life, and then beyond the 1 life, you're going to get a battle card into play, and you're going to draw a card. So that means you're going up 3 cards just for your activate main. You don't even have to swing. So you don't even have to awaken your opponent in order to start awakening yourself and getting a huge hand. It's great. He has a normal awaken, no alternate awaken. When your life's at 4 or less, you untap 1, draw 1, and then flip him over. And then he just has the standard when he attacks, draw 1. He has a limit 2 ability, which is a little bit weird that it's a limit 2, but, you know, it's better than a limit 1, so what can I say? If it's your turn, when one of your red Universe 11 cards evolves, this card gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. So if you evolve twice before you swing with your leader's going to be swinging for 25. Not a terrible place to be. I will not sniff at free power, just, you know, for no reason. It's great. Then he still has the same Spirit Boost 1 skill, so you can continue to evolve on the opponent's turn as well. Very strong leader, and we'll just get into the deck right now. Where you're playing a lot of evolve targets because the whole deck is built around the evolve mechanic and going up the Jiren chain and growing your Jirens from little babies to big, beefy fridge men. So we've got 4 Jiren the Avenger, 4 Jiren Thirst for Power. This is the start of your chain. Jiren the Avenger, when he comes into play, you draw 1, and he has a tutor effect from your deck. You can take him from your drop area, put him back in your deck, discard a card, and search your deck for an evolved Jiren with cost 5 or less and put it in your hand. Very strong consistency tool, but just the playing him for 1 energy is fantastic, and drawing 1 too. This Jiren Thirst for Power, he has a permanent that really doesn't matter. It's just some legacy support for old Jiren, but it lets you evolve with your more clunky Jirens from the before times for a different evolve cost. That doesn't matter in this deck. And then he has an auto when he's played. You dig 5 for a red Jiren card or a red Unison card with specified cost 1, which is the Unison we're playing, and then put it in your hand. So both of these put you plus when you play them, which goes really well off your leader. And then they're the start of your chain. And then we have 4 Kunshi Warrior of Universe 11. He gives all of your red non-Kunshi Universe 11 cards in your battle area barrier, and when you play him, you draw 1. So this guy also puts you plus as soon as you play him. Very strong, and then it just protects your Jirens. It's not as strong as the Kunshi from set 9 that would protect himself and all of your other things. It just protects your other things and only your things with cost 1. But it's still very good, especially paired with the Zoirai Topsy-Turvy from the tournament pack. He's a blocker, and then with Bond 2, Universe 11, this card can't be KO'd once per turn. So as long as you have one other Universe 11 card in play, he's just a blocker that gets to essentially not die once per turn. Very, very strong. And yet it's just great. And then we have 2 of the old TP Jiren Pride of Universe 11, because this guy does not specify he has to get yellow cards back from the drop area. Activate main, your leader is a Universe 11 card, and you discard this card from your hand. You choose 2 of your Universe 11 cards with energy cost 1 in your drop area and play them with their skills negated for the duration of the turn. It's just fantastic. It lets you go +1. You just discard him. You get 2 guys back. They have their skills negated, but it doesn't matter. You can still evolve on them, and these guys still have their effects up on your opponent's turn, which is when it matters the most. Pride of Universe 11's been awesome. And 2's felt like the right number. It's just been really good. I stole this ratio from Android's build that he got top 16 with at the core, and this ratio has been working perfect for me, so I like that a lot. All right, for Jiren Devastating Might's the next piece of your chain. He evolves for free on a Jiren with cost 1. It's great, and it's not even a limit 1. You can spam as much of these out on as you want per turn as long as you have Jirens in play. His next ability does have a limit 1, which is when it's played, you draw 1, and you choose one of your opponent's battle cards that gets minus 10,000 power for the turn. So this can be very disruptive on the opponent's turn if you evolve, but you can also just get rid of annoying battle cards on your turn, or if they're cards in rest mode, you can neg them and then swing at them with your leader or whatever, and it's significantly easier to get rid of cards that are rested. And he also replaces himself. As soon as you play him, you draw 1. It's great. Nothing in the deck up until the 8 drop costs you any investment up front for the most part. Everything is just going to replace itself, which is why you get to just have Mondo Pressure essentially for free. It's just fantastic. Then we have 4 of the next pieces of chain, because we are just, this deck's built around chainin', buddy. It's what we do. We're putting cards on cards. This guy's got dual attack and an EX evolve for a red, and this is a limit 1, so you can only evolve this guy once per turn. But again, if you do it on the opponent's turn, you can kind of sneak around that limitation. He has a permanent. If he'd be removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill, you can place 2 cards from under him in the drop area, or take a life. And I do want to note real quick, this guy can evolve on top of the 4 or the 1, so you don't even have to go through the 4 before you get this. But if you want that extra protection from the permanent without having to take a life, you'll have to go through the 1 to the 4 to the 5, but that's not hard. It costs 2 energy total, unless you get the 1 drop off your leader, in which case it costs 1 energy total. Just fantastic. This protection ability is phenomenal. The permanent, it lets you self-awaken or just choose not to take life as long as you have cards under him. Stupid good. This card's crazy. He's got dual attack, which is great for pressuring unisons, as well as swinging, and then you can restand him and evolve him into the next piece of the chain. And then he has an auto. When he's played, you draw 1, and then you choose one of your red Universe 11 cards or leader cards or battle cards, excuse me, and it gets plus 1,000 power for this turn, which is kind of like a little mini Sensu Bean effect. This only really matters if you do it on the opponent's turn, but it is nice. You get just like a free, kind of a baby Sensu Bean on your leader if you evolve on the opponent's turn. Very, very strong, and he, again, replaces himself as soon as you play him. Phenomenal. All right, Jiren, Zenith of Power. I'm playing 4 of this guy. He is just the apex of the deck. That's what all of this is culminating to. He's got double strike, 35k. Not going to complain. EX Evolve, limit 1. Remember this. His Evolve skill is a limit 1, so you can only play 1 per turn, but he does not have the unique ability, which means that you can play them on back-to-back turns as long as you have the material in play. He evolves on top of a Jiren with a cost 4 or 5, so you can go from the 1 to the 4 to the 8, or you can go to the 1 to the 4 to the 5 to the 8, or the 1 to the 5 to the 8. It's very flexible. And then when he's played, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring Barrier, and it gets minus 35,000 power for the turn. And you can't play non-Universe 11 battle cards for the turn. This is important to note for your overwhelms and whatnot, but it's just fantastic. If you do this on the opponent's turn, you're basically killing their boss monster that they're swinging at you with, or if you do it on your turn, you're just nuking a thing for free and swinging with this guy. If this guy he has an activate main once per turn, you can place 1 card from under him in the drop area, switch him to active mode, and you can have your red leader gain plus 5,000 power for the turn. So this guy can cap out at a 3,000, assuming you evolves twice and did this skill. Very strong. And it's just a double strike with essentially dual attack. It's just phenomenal. The dual attack is limited by the number of cards under him, but generally there's going to be at least 1, if not 2, or even 3 cards under him. So you can only restand him once a turn, but, you know, it's just great inevitability. He's really hard to remove, really sticky, and kills a thing when he comes into play. Just a phenomenal battle card, and just one of the best boss monsters I've had the privilege of playing in a long time. We'll just go over the super combos really quick, going at the end of the battle cards here. So, for Raditz, you Self-Awaken, and you don't really have any tutoring for non-Jiren cards, and there's no Jiren super combos that are applicable to the deck. So we're playing Raditz because it's Raditz. It's so good. All right, Unisons. We're just playing 4 Topo. I've been happy with this because we really don't have a ton of Unison-centric mechanics. We have the Spirit Boost effect, but again, the deck can play pretty much fine without even using the Spirit Boost mechanic and playing on the opponent's turn. It's kind of crazy. But, you know, it's just not a super Unison-centric deck. The whole chain is just really good, even without a Unison. So, but the Topo is very strong. He's got an auto. When one of your red battle cards evolves, he gets plus 5,000 power for the turn, and he gains a marker. So it essentially pays for the Spirit Boost auto once per turn by letting you evolve. And it also can be, it's only once per turn, so if you evolve on your turn and then evolve on the opponent's turn, that's 2 markers. So it helps him keep his survivability. He plus 1s, at the end of the turn he gets to play a red battle card in rest mode with cost 1. It just pays for himself, he's essentially free, and then you play a dude that cantrips. It's just phenomenal. And his -7 lets you deal 1 damage to your opponent if they have 3 or more life, but that never comes up, you're never getting up to 7. 3 Yamcha, Merciless Barrage. It's Yamcha. I mean, he's super good. It's a little bit harder to keep Yamcha going in this deck, but, you know, just the matchups where he's good, he's really, really good, so you want to keep him. Negates. We got fairly standard package here. 3 Testing the Opposition, 2 Violent Rays. I love testing the opposition. If you've seen my profiles before, I'm super high on the card, and I think it's just absolutely fantastic. It's so good at protecting your Unisons. I could not imagine playing less than 3. 4 would probably be too much, but 3 has been super good in basically every red deck I've played. Especially the ones like Jiren that can just get themselves down to 5 super easy. Violent Rays is still solid. We're not seeing Dark Broly all over the place, but there's still a bunch of matchups where you still want this kind of effect. Like the Gogeta decks or the Gotenks decks and the Bojack decks, all that kind of stuff. So still an important card, but if you don't have the Violent Rays, I know they're still a little bit expensive even with the reprints. You can play, you know, any other negate you really want to in this slot. It doesn't really matter. Violent Rays is just the most meta option. And then we'll go down to the tech in the deck. So we've got 1 new ruler. It's new ruler. You play the one that you're allowed to. It's not super important to the deck, but you know, why would you not play it if you have it, right? So it's good. Champa is Champa. Fighting Against Fate's Fighting Against Fate. And then we have Supreme Cry of Time. And then to bring up the rear here, we've got 2 Frieza's Death Balls. This is just... I play this package in my King Piccolo deck too. So if you've seen my red deck profiles before, you know this is how I like to close games, is with the combinations of these cards, because they're all so good together. You know, Frieza's Death Ball, and this is great, this and this is great, this and this is great, this and this is great. All of these are really good, except for, like, these 2, right? So, just phenomenal, really easy ways to close out the games, especially because your card plays are so cheap. They cost 1 or 2 energy at the most, so you often have energy left over for these guys. Kai is my secret rare of choice. You can play whatever secret rare you want in this deck, honestly. If you've seen my profiles before, you know I love Supreme Kai of Time. She's just my favorite secret rare, and she's the most reliable to me. But yeah, that's the deck profile, guys. It's just really straightforward. You just evolve up your dude. You make big bunguses. Everything replaces itself. It's just all free real estate, and eventually you're just going to overwhelm them with your huge, beefy boys. So yeah, thanks for checking out the deck profile, guys. If you have any questions, hit us up in the comments section below. Again, please hit that subscribe button if you're new. Helps us out a lot. Helps us bring you more Dragon Ball Super content on the regular. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Until next time, on the Monaresclub. Go